Yeah, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Blakademik and Chill with myself, Jordan Jarrett Bryan. Hope you've had a fantastic day today. It's a Monday. We're buzzing, we're lively, we're happy, we're good to go. I want to hear from you guys as usual during the next half an hour to hour. I want to know how you've been getting on. We're obviously still in this crazy period. I want to hear from you guys how you've been getting on this today and the weekend as well. We've got another fantastic guest coming up in just a minute or so. But yeah, during the show, please engage with us. If you haven't followed our platforms yet, please go do so. We are on Blakademik TV, YouTube. Check out our website, blakademik.com. All our content and more information about our show is there. And everything about what we do is all there. So go and check it out if you haven't already, and go and share it to everybody. And also, finally, a belated happy Black Pound Day. For those who don't know, Black Pound Day was on Saturday. An initiative started out by Swiss, formerly of So Solid Crew, to get more people, everybody, spending for one day with a black business or black owned company. So it was a great day. Keep the movement going on. Shout out everybody that got involved in that. Right. So today's Blakademik and Chill is something that I wanted to do for quite a while as well. Obviously, in this era we're currently moving into, era is maybe a bit of a stretch. This period of activism and seeking for social and racial justice. The conversations of educating ourselves and other people about what it is that black people and other minorities, and I say minorities loosely there because in some parts of the world we're the majority, what they're going through has been a conversation that's been very rife. And so I wanted to have a discussion with a professional regarding education, but focusing more on schools. And there's different elements about that I want to focus on too. So to do so, I want to invite a teacher onto our platform here. She is the founder of the platform Kids Black History. If she is listening, come and join us and I will accept you. We're going to be having a discussion with Keighley, who's a teacher, and I want to know from Keighley what's been happening in regards to kids going back to school, how she as a teacher has found it, and kind of what the near future is going to be, what that's going to bring for our students over the next kind of 6 months or so. And there she is. Good evening,
Hello.
Keighley. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good, thank you. I'm really blessed to be on this Insta Live.
Oh, thank you for joining us. You know what? I'm
speak with
in
you as
trouble
well.
here because I was meant to turn down my volume. I didn't do that. Bear with. Sorry, that's my fault completely. I'm in the wrong there.
That's all right.
Right, there we go. Sorry, bear with. Right, perfect. Okay, so good evening. Once again, let's try again.
Good evening.
Cheers for coming on. So first of all, tell me a little bit about Kids Black History, why you set it up, and what it's all about.
So I set it up mainly because I had a platform on YouTube. So I really had like a dedication to the platform, and started editing videos and just really got interested in that side of things. And then we got time on our hands. So being in lockdown, not having to actually physically be in work, I got this in my hands. And then the issue with George Floyd happened. And I remember very vividly watching that ordeal in my bed. And I didn't actually know the outcome when I watched that video. And it really saddened me when I watched that. Obviously, it hit like everybody else. Angered me, saddened me. And it made me think about, all the things that everybody else is thinking. What's missing here? Why is this happening? Why is this still happening in society? So I just thought about what I could do, especially with the protests going on as well, and seeing everyone getting involved of all ethnicities, and what I could do and what was kind of missing. So, and also educating my own child with what's missing. So I did a bit of research because I just thought, look, these kids are not being educated on what's really important in terms of Black history. So what is missing? Obviously, it's not being taught in our schools. So when I looked on the platform, if I want to educate my child on Black history, and I want to look on YouTube and I want to play something, it's all dedicated to Black History Month. It's one-off things, there's one-off information, or it's your typical information about people Black people in society. Like, so you might study Martin Luther King, and it's that repeated a lot of times on YouTube. So I just thought about what's missing for my child is African education, starting from the root, and something positive. So I kind of just took that and ran with it, really. I just thought, this is what's missing. What can I do to put it out there, but not just for my own child, for everybody else? Black children, white children, Asian children, everybody. The truth. So that's kind of why I did it.
So I find it really interesting that you and more people I've been speaking to, when they refer to our history, they're not so much now saying Black history, they're saying African history, which is, neither's wrong, but it's interesting now that people are much more either awakened to the fact that it is African history, or if they always knew it, they're just more happy just to kind of call it what it is and say that. So I find that really interesting in itself. Before we go forward with the education and what the platform itself, I'm just more conscious now of when I speak to Black people in this period of I suppose heightened trauma and mental triggering. And when I ask people how they are and how they feel, I'm no doctor. Don't get it twisted. I'm not no expert or professional, but I think it's important that when we do ask Black people, especially in this period, how they feel and how they are, we actually give that some depth and meaning. So I'm going to reach out to you as a sister, to put in work to one side. How are you? How have you been feeling? How have you processed this? How was all this last kind of month or two really, what's the word? How was it manifested within you?
Like I said, when I watched what was going on, and it's not just George Floyd, it's Rayshard Brooks, and to me that hasn't even been covered as much. But it really hit home, and it just made about all the things and the situations that I have dealt with, being a teacher, growing up, direct racism, racism that you don't even realize is happening, and that it's time for us to really just stop. Easy to see the years going on. That was amazing, because I haven't seen anything like this in my lifetime, of people getting together and the protests. So that's been amazing to see. But for me, I want to know what impact this is really going to have on society, because I understand why everyone got together in the first place. So we had a bit of purpose. We were supporting what was going on in America. We were backing that. It was brilliant to see all these countries coming together to support that and back that. But if we look at the UK, we have our own issues here. And I feel like there needs to be a bit more of a direct focus on here. And when we're protesting for equality and all of that. But then what do we actually want to happen? Because equality, racism is very broad. It's not going to end tomorrow. So what is it that we're fighting for? It's something that we should fight for and not stop until it actually happens. But there's so many elements that could cover. And I want to know exactly what are we pushing for in the UK exactly that we want to see. Like, if I'm watching the sports now and I'm seeing Black Lives Matters on the footballers' backs and I'm seeing the badges, it just seems to me like that's just been put on because it looks good at the moment. But is it real? I don't know. It's great to see it out there, but
no, it's a really good point about it's all well and good protesting and having activism, but what's the end goal? What do we want? What does justice look like? Just before I go any further, I know I think it's my phone, because I've got my audio all over the place, it's echoing. So apologies to people listening. If it's really, really, really bad, like unbearably to hear bad, let me know and I will pause and I will fix it. In the meantime, I'll try and just fix it as I'm going along. So apologies for that. But yeah, I think your point is bang on. I think your point is bang on. We need to be very clear about what it is that we want. You know what I mean? So for you, what does justice look like? What does equality look like?
Oh, that's very broad. I could talk about it from an education sense, but our society, it's just say we want equality when everything around us isn't designed for us. It's seeing Black people being treated equally in the workplace, on TV, seeing role models, seeing Black people in high places. There's so many things that it's hard to say. I can talk about specifically. So if we're talking about history within the curriculum, that is a start, because education is the root of a lot of things. But are we actually pushing for that? And in what sense are we pushing for that? And how is it going to change? Because only last week, the government said, no, the education is broad and diverse. And we really know it isn't.
No, for real. So on that, talk to me a little bit. So you're a teacher. And talk to me, first of all, just let's put the race to one side for a second. What has it been like kind of going? Are you back at school now? Is your school body back in the way?
Personally, the school is back in a sense. So we are integrating students here and there. So we've got some of our, I'm secondary, so we've got some of our year 10 pupils that are coming. Actually, we're extended primary school as well, but I don't work in the primary phase. And there are a few students in primary that are back in, but that doesn't mean the whole staff are back in. So I'm actually physically not in the building at the moment. I'm actually working still from home.
And what has it been like for the people that your colleagues, have they expressed to you what the process has been like? You know, how I imagine it's been difficult, but how difficult has it been for teachers and pupils over this last 2 or 3 weeks?
Oh, it's been very, very different for everyone, for students. I mean, the students that are coming back in dribs and drabs, I mean, they've got so much gaps in their normal education. They're segregated from, you know, their main class because they're coming back in bubbles. So they can only, I think it's 9 children in a room at one time. They can't see anybody else. You've got to distance from each other. So it's quite tough on children. And obviously we deal with a lot of them that are struggling mentally in certain areas. So for those children, it can be quite tough on them. And members of staff that have gone back, it's just very different at the moment. It's the way I can explain it, it's different because we're not all back. The hours are a little bit shorter. You know, you can't eat together. The kids have got to come with packed lunch. It's just, it's not normal. Like that.
What, maybe it's gone cold. My daughter loves it. Can __ official says she's shouting out your platform. Got a thumbs up there from K.17. Can also said facts in response to, I can hear you now. Facts in response to what you were saying. My kids love the channel. Something positive, in response to not everyday negative about our history, not just slavery. I love the last video. You said you wear your hair with pride. Yes, we need a break from black trauma. Shin Bailey B says as well there. Can also says, I watched Roots from young. I think we've all kind of had that. Too busy learning about Henry VIII. Someone else there saying as well. Learning black history starts at home. So I think a lot of people are in agreement with you there. What I wanted to kind of agree with you on regards to Black History Month is we started something on our platform, on our Instagram platform, where we call it hashtag Black History Year. So every single month, we find someone who's British and alive, and we do a picture and a short profile of who that person is to basically push back from Black history just being the case of 30 days. I hate it. So whereas now I'm going to still celebrate Black History Month in October, to back up my words, we do it every month. We highlight someone every single month. You know what I mean? So I totally agree with your point about just 30 days of the year being, if you like, our month, and then 1st November, we're done now. Do you know what I mean?
But can I just say that in schools, Black History Month isn't even, and I can't speak for every school, but for some schools, it's not even the month. It is 1 week and when I say 1 week, it could be 1 day, because that week of assembly is focused on Black History Month or something to do with the Black community for that 1 day. And that's it. There's not a project that children are doing. It's not being recognised in their everyday subjects. And it can easily be incorporated in every subject. You could go to an English lesson and they can incorporate in English. You could go to a PE lesson, we can incorporate in PE. Every subject, there is a way to include our culture somehow, some way. But that's not it. They just do an assembly. So they're not even getting that for the month. You literally have to work hard at home, sadly.
Raising Happy Munch King says, Auntie KK, we love you, from JJ and Jojo. Josh says facts. Got the thumbs up there from raising Happy Munchkins. Josh says it was a day when I was at school.
There you go. Yeah, a day.
We also got a comment here. My school didn't even have Black History Month or a proper curriculum. So, if you could be in charge of your school, how much of Black history and African education would you instill as part of the curriculum? Are we doing this once a day? Are we doing this once a week? Are we doing this? How much are we talking?
I'm doing it every day. Like, as a teacher already, I make the effort to incorporate it in everything that I can do. So I run assemblies because I'm head of year. So when I do my assemblies, I make sure that I include Black faces in the assembly so that these kids, and I am in a school that is predominantly mixed cultured, and a lot of Black children go to my school. So they need to see that representation. They are lucky that they have me there, that I am doing that, but not every school does that. And also, even as a Black teacher, you do feel sometimes that you can't do that. It's like, oh, I might be looked at funny if I put too many Black people in that PowerPoint because, oh, people might look at me and think, oh gosh, why is she doing that? Or if I play a reggae song as the intro, oh gosh, that might look too ghetto.
Play the tune, man. Play the tune.
This is what I do. I've been doing this for a long time. But this is it's sad that this is what we think, because we conform to how we may be perceived. So we're a bit like, oh gosh, I better not do that. That might look too Black. But I make the effort in everything that I can do so they can have those role models. And in my theory lessons that I teach, I try and bring it in any way I can. But not everyone's doing that. It doesn't work if it's just me doing that. It helps the little group of children that I'm teaching, but it doesn't help the whole school because it's just me.
And I suppose kids at that age, they don't really care what they're being taught. So what's the reaction when you talk about a famous Black inventor, or you play a reggae tune and you kind of educate people through our music? What's the response from the kids?
The kids absolutely love it. It gives them vibes. It gives them positivity. They love my assemblies. They absolutely love the feedback. The teachers even that are in there are like, oh, that was brilliant. That was great. And I'm not just saying that that's just from the Black children. I'm getting that from all the children, the white children. They are infatuated with it. They love it. And even though you're saying that the children don't really care, I had a lesson with a group of Year 11 students, and they were talking to me about their history exam. And they were saying how so disengaged they are from history and from that particular subject. They wish they didn't study it because they can't relate to it. And they were frustrated. They were almost kind of sacking off that exam. It's like, oh, but you know what? It's boring. It's nothing to do with us. And it's sad that, these kids realise that they're so young, 15, 16 years old, and this is what they have to learn. It's sad.
And I think... So, go on.
I was just going to say, even if we bring this teaching into the schools, to me, it's the exams that matter as well. So we can bring in as much culture and teach them about Black education, African education. But if the exam that they have to sit in Year 11 doesn't include that topic, the teachers almost won't focus on that because they need to focus on what's going to make them pass the exam. So it has to be literally in the curriculum for teachers to literally focus most of their time. We can touch on it, maybe in a tutor time or assembly, but for it to be really enrooted, it's got to be in the exams, because that's what a school's focus is. It's getting them through the exams and getting through that content. It's textbook, really.
And I guess I've got a comment here from Shin Bailey B, who says that Black culture is cool too. And I guess that must make it easier to kind of, teach these kids about our culture, because, we all know Black culture is cool culture. You know what I mean? So if I would have loved to have learned about the historical elements of my people, of course, but I also want to hear about the things that my people invented across arts and culture and music and technology and the pioneering that we did as well. And a lot of that stuff is cool. And as a youngster, I'm like, what? My people made that? Yes, my youth. You know what I mean?
I was in shock when I found that. Even the involvement of the traffic lights and things like that. I was like, what? That was us?
Ironing board? The ironing board was invented by a Black man.
Yeah. These things are so important. It's in everyday life. Why don't we know this? It frustrates me so much. And just like you said, even at the beginning of a maths lesson, we can talk about the history of maths. We can just touch on it. Just give them a little touch before every little subject. And another thing that gets me as well is that our Black children go to school, and we get children of all that can speak multiple languages. So you might get a child who speaks Swahili at home. And when they get to school, in the system, you're almost taught that your language isn't important, because the only language that you're going to be having an examination in that's important is French, Spanish, obviously English as literature, German, that's it. And there are some children, like if you speak Mandarin, you can actually take an exam in that. But they're not going to give you an exam in Swahili. They're not going to give you an exam in... So you're almost taught when you come to these schools that, you know, we need to disregard your language. That's not important. You need to learn Spanish. That's going to get you far. You need to learn French. That's going to get you far. And that's sad. It's very...
So my team, Keighley, is this. Like, the protesting, I've been to some of the protests in London, the activism, the marching, the calling out corporations at the workplace, I think is important work. Very, very important work. But I'm about action, and I'm about sustainable change. So my thing is always thinking, while I'm happy to kind of keep my foot on the pedal in terms of keeping this pressure on, holding institutions and the leaders of our country and business accountable, it's also about, okay, what's next? So as a teacher, do you have genuine confidence and faith that, led by the current government and Prime Minister that we are led by, there can actually be some real systemic change within the curriculum that ensures that kids are being taught more about Black history? Or do you always feel like it's going to be dependent on the conscious Black and maybe even white teachers to try and sprinkle it in when they can, as opposed to it being, no, this is on the exam?
Yeah. I have no confidence. No, I don't have. It's sad. I don't have any confidence in the government currently. I do have some confidence in some of our teachers, Black and white, some of them. Even since I started the platform, there are parents that have reached out and said they've contacted their schools to include this on their curriculum. There has been teachers that have reached out and saying that we are working as a school to try and include Black history within our curriculum. So there are some schools that are really trying to include it some way, even though it's not accepted as part of the actual national curriculum. They are still trying to include it. And those schools, if schools just get together and they do that, then we might achieve something. Because the government can see, actually, schools want this, schools need this. Let's make it happen, because they're doing it anyway. They're including it some way, somehow. But I feel like I have to be the conscious one to do what I can within my own school. And I hope that me making this platform is helping other schools in some way. So that's what I can do myself. But obviously, I can't change the whole of the UK.
You know what'll be dope? This is like a dream world, so stick with me. It will be dope if on a school trip, one school just said, you know what? We're going to Nigeria, or we're going to Ghana, or we're going to Jamaica for a week or 2 weeks. Little school trip, forget all this going Norfolk, and I went to some little dry place in Cambridge, Essex, and at best Paris. If you're lucky, you might go to Paris on a little Eurostar. But I would love it if a school was like, you know what? Yeah, man, we're taking the whole year on a school trip to somewhere on the African continent, or somewhere in the Caribbean. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because as well,
an exchange.
Yeah, because a lot of these kids, they've never been on a plane, so they won't even get to experience their own culture. For some kids, they can't. They're not in that position. So especially for those children that don't get to holiday in these places or go back to their home countries, then for those children, it would be so beneficial. So beneficial. I would back that 100%.
Someone saying I went Devon. And I bet
I went to
that was like a big thing. You went to where?
Swanage. And Ruton.
I went somewhere in Cambridge and Norfolk. I was so vexed. So as you're also a parent, I've had Jamelia on Blakademik and Chill last week, and we also had Marvin Harrison from Dope Black Dads on as well.
Yeah.
And they both made the point about the fact they've used this lockdown period, and Jamelia homeschools anyway. She's been doing it for a minute, but they've both used this time to teach their kids other life skills. So whilst everyone's been stressing about getting them through the maths and the science and the English, which of course are important, let's not make out like we need our kids to be able to read and write and be able to 2+2, of course. But they were also talking about trying to make their children just more rounded people. So it wasn't a case of 9 o'clock wake up, we're going to be doing book work till 3:30. It might be a couple of hours of book work, but a lot of it might have just been teaching their kids manners. It might have been cleaning up after themselves. Marvin, great example, mentioned for his son, I believe is 7. He'll kill me if I'm wrong there, but he's very, very young. Just making the bed every day was something that he instilled in his son. Every day you're going to make the bed. And that might sound minor to a lot of people, but what he's teaching his son is a discipline, is a routine, is respect for himself and his things. And I haven't got any kids, so all these things I found really interesting. Is that something that, as well as the academic side, you've been doing at home with I don't know how old your child or children are, but
5.
she's 5, okay.
5.
How much of that is important, as well as the being a the bookworm stuff?
Is so important. And for me, the fact that I've been able to see her for this amount of time, because normally it's just quick in the morning, you're just living this rush life, and quick, get up in the morning, go to school, come back, and it's just, there's no time. To have this amount of time with her has been amazing. She's 5, so she can't do too much, but she's willing. She wants to help. So I'll be in the kitchen cooking, and she wants to help season. She wants to help, to see how something's done. I'm washing rice, and she wants to look over my shoulder and see these things. And, to just say, oh, you're too young. No, she's actually learning something from such a young age. It's really important. Even another thing she done, for her birthday, she got a little playhouse, a wooden playhouse. She painted that playhouse with me, of course. But even the skill of painting something and having that time, learning something different, artistic, it's been brilliant. We've made stuff out of cardboard. We've done so much. And obviously, the biggest thing that we've done is the platform, because she's very heavily involved in the content that I make for the channel. So she's getting that side of education, but she's also a little director as well. So when we make this content, she comes up with the most amazing ideas at 5 years old to include in the content. Her confidence as well has gone through the roof.
Wicked. That was something, that Marvin and Jamila, sorry to cut you, both mentioned. It's about instilling a self-confidence and pride in their kids. I mean, Marvin, I love Marvin, he's one of my guys. He does this thing, affirmations. He does it himself, I believe, but he also does it with his child, where he gets his child every morning to say, I love my skin, I love my hair, and I am a strong, happy young boy. I'm paraphrasing slightly there, but it's those kinds of things that are just as valuable as knowing your 9 times table. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I do that with my daughter. I have to tell her to look in the mirror and love herself, because there has been moments in the past where she asks questions about skin color and things. So I have to tell her, you're beautiful. Look at you. Look in the mirror. I do her hair in all these styles, and first thing she does is run in the mirror and say, "Wow, this is beautiful, mummy. I love it, and this is important to me." So no, it's been really good.
And books, I mean, there's so many book clubs popping up, and African and Caribbean centered books from authors from our people. Shout out, I've got a shout out, it'll kill me, Simeon's Good Readers Book Club. I think that's right. Go check it out on Instagram, Good Readers Book Club. How important is it that we're getting our kids as young as possible, not only reading, but reading about not only our history, because I think it can be quite dense, always reading and educating yourself on Black history and African history, which is essential. But it's also just fiction and non-fiction books, some creative books that aren't deep and heavy, but have creative writing and show us as superheroes and show us in love stories and show us as creators and inventors. How important is it that we get our young Black boys and girls reading a wide plethora of books?
Very important. But for me, I need to have that representation in those books as well, so that she can see herself in those books. And I've got one, a book that she looks at, and it's the Little Leaders. I don't know if you've seen that, Little Leaders, black book. And it's got lots of positive images of people that have existed. So it's a real life book, but they're all in cartoon, and there's a little bit of information about all of these people. And she loves it. She loves to read, and she always goes and finds one, and she says, "Oh, that one looks like me." And then we read the information. So yeah, she loves it. Reading is the key to everything. So I make sure that is one of the things we do every single day. We will read, and so she can actually get a book out. Obviously, she's still 5. So she's still learning to read with her reading books, but eventually she'll be able to pick out one of those books on the shelves and read it back to me. So yeah, reading is key.
How hopeful are you that us living in the West, okay, that by the time your daughter turns 18 and is an adult, that by that point she will be living in a society that is more conscious, more fair, more equal, and has a playing field that enables her. The only reason she may well fail at something is because she's not good enough at it, as opposed to the color of her skin. Living in America, living in the UK, living in the West, are you confident that in well, my math's so awful, in 15 or so years' time,
yeah,
that in the world that she will be living in as an adult will be one that is significantly more progressive than what we're living in right now? And by progressive, I just mean equal. Yeah.
I still think it's going to take longer than 10 years, 15 years. I do feel, though, that the younger generation today are more conscious. They're starting to realise a lot of things, the younger generation. Even the fact that this event and the protests are happening now, with these young people seeing this, it's helping. Even something that might seem so simple as hair. I find that the younger people today are more embracing that side of their culture, their hair even today. So I do feel like people are more aware now than they were 10 years ago or when I was at school. But for things to really change into equality I feel like 10, 15 years is actually a short space of time for equality, because there's so much, it's just, especially here and in America, everything around us is not equal. From the minute we turn on the TV, it's not equal. From the things that our little children watch on TV, like the cartoons, nothing, unless you are finding it yourself, it's not directed for them. It's not equal for us. So I think it's going to take a while to see people in high positions. Even if you look at the cabinet, there's no black people really there. It's going to take a while.
I hear that. I'm going to rattle through some questions and some comments from YouTube and the Gram. So we've got one from YouTube here. Just a comment that says, my school celebrated Black History for just 3 days in 2019. Wow, that was just a year ago. I'm going to go through a few here. Okay, can you repeat the name of the book club, please? I'll put it in the comments afterwards, but I believe it's Good Readers Book Club. Good Readers Book Club. They celebrate all books from authors from the African continent and the Caribbean. We always look to celebrities. I agree. We need a powerful leader. It's also access. It's also access to information. Harry Potter books are complete nonsense. Representation is so vital. Nor have I. We definitely seem more united. Do you know Nadia Lopes? She's a head in the Bronx, and she does the positive repetitions with entire classes. I don't, but thank you for that. In school was always Jamaicans versus Africans, whereas now we feel more united. Missed quite a few. I'll go for a few more. Interesting because more. It's important for Black people to know where we came from. Feed your children self-esteem from home, so they are ready and prepared for the world we live in. So many comments. Keep them coming in. So confident, born star. Education and learning doesn't only occur in the classroom. Yes, teach them young. Cool. Keep the comments coming in. So I guess just kind of a couple more from me, Keighley. What what can people, how can people engage in your platform? Is there anything you would like people to do to help you, you know, grow your platform beyond sharing it and liking your posts?
First of all, I just want to say thank you to anybody who has shared it, who's been liking the posts. It's down to people. I don't even know how people found out. It was been a whirlwind really, because I haven't even had it out for 2 weeks yet. So it's the support from the community has been absolutely amazing. It's been such a short space of time, so they've been really brilliant in backing me with that. But I would like to see it. Sharing is probably the best way, is getting it out there so that people actually know about it, and actually making it part of a routine for your child is the best way. It's there every week, so that it's almost like a little series following on from each other, and it's so that it's just part of something that your children can just be involved in as much as possible on a weekly basis. So yeah, please get involved. Also, because it's a kids channel, you can't directly communicate with me on the actual YouTube, but I always leave my email there for communication, because I want to be engaged. And it's also nice to have feedback from people to hear what they want to see on the platform, because I'm making it obviously for my own child, but I'm making it for everybody else. I'd love to know what people really want to see and that they feel is missing. And that's not out there. So yeah, please let me know what you would like us to focus on.
You said that the school that you work at have been quite supportive of you driving forward any possibility of teaching your students about African history. Do you get a sense that there are more and more of your white colleagues that are also understanding the importance of teaching all kids about African history, or do you still sense in some corners a little bit of pushback and resistance?
I don't know if there's resistance. It's just that they don't know about it and they don't do it. I have support to do it, because I kind of have the freedom in a way to kind of lead how I want to lead within my area. So within my year group, I can lead it in my own direction. So I have the freedom, but that is not the same for every single person in my position. So every single head of year won't necessarily follow that on and do the same things that I'm doing. So it is, I do what I can do for my students, but it's not uniform within the whole school at the moment. But I think since this incident has happened, when we go back in September, that's where I'm hoping for a little bit of change on that. And it's been difficult at the moment because we haven't had proper meetings, whole school meetings on what we can do as a school. But that's what I'm looking forward to, having those meetings so that I can actually discuss how we can implement this to all students, not just who I'm working with. So that's what I want to happen. So we've got
a question. So a question here from Libby Lauren. Which elements of Black history would you prioritize for Key Stage 1? And she also made a comment earlier on. So yeah, if you answer that one first of all, I'll try and find her earlier comment, which I really liked as well.
For me, so that's the same age group that I deal with my videos. And I'm starting off with just representation of positive people in society and African history. So I'm going back to let students know about the continent and what was in that continent that's really positive. So start there. Let them know that there were kings and queens from that continent way back before we had kings and queens here. Let them know about that history, and then develop that into just positive representation any way you can with the little ones. They're too young to know about the aggro and the slavery that we've dealt with. Don't touch on that. It's not something that children shouldn't know, but not yet. Just keep it positive and have areas of Black people that have done things in society, but also not just your celebrities that the students know. I find that in schools, a lot of focus is on Black people that we actually already know. And I would like to focus on people that information that's going to shock you, like, wow, I didn't actually know that, so that these little children can go home and tell their parents, did you know that this person created this and was the inventor? That's what I want. I want them to go home and, you know, try. When on this platform, I found out that a lot of adults are learning as well. So the information that's going out there, a lot of people, adults, we don't even know our history. I'm still learning myself. Even though I'm creating so much to learn that we don't know because it's hidden from us. So
I hear that.
Yeah, you know,
I'm with that as well, Keighley, because I'm doing my best with this platform to try and educate as many people as possible. Not because I have all the knowledge or I'm the most intelligent person, but just be a platform that can lift people like you to kind of talk your truth and help other people. But internally, I'm doing so much work as well. It's well and good us asking other people to educate themselves, but there's so many things that I don't know if embarrass is the right word, but there's so many things that I don't even know about Black history that I'm now learning up and reading. Do you know what I mean? It's never too late to learn. So I think it's important that we first of all learn ourselves and educate ourselves. Just two more from me. Libby came back and said we are doing an entire term topic on Africa in September. It will be beautiful. Thank you. And I think Libby mentioned earlier on that she, the comment I was trying to find was that any opportunity she gets to try and teach people about African history, she does. If that wasn't you, Libby, apologies, but somebody definitely posted that. Let me just wrap up with obviously the big story of the last kind of few weeks was regarding statues. It's been happening in America for a while, Confederate statues coming down. We saw what happened in Bristol. There's campaigns to get certain statues of slave owners taken down. Are you on the side of the fence that says a lot of these men were significantly flawed and just blatantly racist and caused severe harm to our people, and therefore they shouldn't be up there and honoured? Or side of the fence that says these guys were seriously flawed and were racist, but they need to be held up, and we need to be educating the younger generation about the full context of who these white men were?
Yes, it's racist, but I don't think the statues should be there. I agree that the statues should be taken down, but there has been arguments about putting them in museums for people to learn about what has happened. And yes, I do think we need to know what happened because, you know, that's part of history. It's still part of history. It's something that has happened, but we need to know the truth because these things have been there and we didn't even know. Some of them, I didn't know who they were. And I didn't realise that they were standing tall in Bristol. And this is what has happened. So, yes, they need to be taken down. But even in Bristol, it's not just the statue, it's the name of the buildings and everything around was named after this man.
And the roads.
You can take the statue down, but are you going to change the city and make that right? I don't know. But yes, we need to know the truth. We need to know the truth. So I feel the truth should be out there some way, if it's going to be through museums or something. But the statue needs to come down because a statue is something you honour. To me, that's what a statue is there for. That's something you should look at, take pictures with, honour and say, wow, not, you know, someone of that nature shouldn't be honoured in that way. So,
final comment we've got from someone on YouTube that says, I've used your channel with my year 6 students. They love it.
Yeah, amazing. That's the thing. So the work is designed for younger children, but the information, so I'd say the nature of the way I've kind of produced and put together the videos is to kind of entertain the younger with the music that's used, you know, with the images that pop up and the character of my 5-year-old is to entertain the younger ones. But the information, that's not limited. Like I said, adults are still learning. So you could use that. I could use that with my year 11 class and give them information they don't know. So you can take these lessons and you can incorporate that in any way that's possible in your schools. And eventually what I would like to do is create resources to go with the videos just to support schools. That would be the next kind of step to go with what I'm creating. Because I know a lot of people are asking for resources and they just want resources just to make their life easier. So somewhere I'd like to take it just to help out.
Listen, Keighley, big up yourself. Where can people find your platform? Shout out your platforms and your handles.
So Twitter at Kids Black History, but it's BLK for Black. I couldn't fit the full word. Instagram, Kids Black History, and the most important platform is obviously because that's where we make the content. So yeah, just shout at us, follow us, share. Please tell people about it. It doesn't have to be teachers. It's just parents, anybody, anyone that's interested. Please just share. and get that information. Hopefully we can make some sort of change. I hope.
Listen, you're the kind of people that we do Blakademik and chill with, because we want to uplift people like you. You're important to our community. You're doing some fantastic work. I really, really implore everybody on here on our platform to go and check out Keighley's channel on her platform, because I've been all over it. I'm learning, and I'm a grey old man, and even I'm learning two things from the platform as well. So please keep up the good work. You're smashing it. Anything we can do as Blakademik to kind of uplift and promote your platform, just give me a shout. Let me know. We will do that for sure. And we'll maybe get you back on in a few months' time, just once if schools go back to kind of some form of normality, to see kind of how the kids are getting on and how you guys as teachers are getting on as well. We can pick it up from there. So go check out her platform. If you haven't subscribed to our platform, please go do so. We are across all the socials: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go tell a friend, share it to 5 friends. Follow our website as well, blakademik.com. Our new season is incoming. We're very excited about that. We've got the podcast relaunching in a couple of weeks. Excited about that always as well. Everybody stay well, protect your mental health, check in on somebody else, look after the kids in the pitney, let's raise them properly. Enjoy the weather, stay well. And thank you very much to all our YouTube subscribers. Apologies for our technicals earlier on, but we got there in the end. And I really enjoyed that. Give us a comment or subscribe if you did enjoy it as well. And we will see you next time on Blakademik and Chill. Peace.